Roll it up.
Craziest thing I've experienced. I got sentenced as an adult at 17 and went to Folsom, Old Folsom. And anybody that's been to Old Folsom before they shut it down knows it was no place for a youngster. So first week I get there, I get my points, and they put me on a level 3 yard, and I'm walking on the yard and I see my homeboy Elmore Fauché from Fodes, and I'm, young chest, I was a skinny little dude, and I, as I'm walking towards him, I can see he don't really want to embrace me. He don't even really want me to walk all the way over, but he kind of got that look like, stay where you are. So I'm kind of walking. I'm walking with another, because I had a mentor. When you first hit a yard, if you've never been to the pen, a lot of times you click, but I had a mentor, Ellis Burham. And Ellis Burham was 73 years old. Cuz walking me, showing me the yard. It's like first day at school, college. This is the cat that's gonna show you around. And I think it was more because of my age. I'm walking to the right with Ellis. I see Elmore, and again, he ain't embracing me in. And then a few seconds later, I see why. About 6 cats jumped on this one cat and get to popping him, and that's normal for me. But the degradation of how they, and the intensity of how they was sticking this dude, the Quete was like, nigga, where was that? Where was you holding that at? You know what I mean? You ain't keistering nothing like that. And cuz got to popping this dude, and to watch it go in and out. And the hit was so serious, the other cats start, because one thing about the yard is guards ain't gonna rush in until it all cracks off. So they popping dude, they sticking him everywhere, they hold him while they sticking him, and dude is Duval already. When they let off the shatter bomb, everybody lays down, I lay down, and I'm realizing that dude is still sticking him. Like he laid out like this, still got the Quete in his hand, but he reaching back, popping him, just popping. Like I said, cuz it's Duval, he's done. The party's over. And he's still sticking him to the tower, put them in his back. Up until he caught that lead, he was still popping him. So, I mean, I say that's the most intense story, because one, I wasn't even there 3 days. You know what I mean? So, I seen worse things, but that was my first experience of penitentiary life. My crime that sent me upstate, I had a ton of little juvenile stuff, but I used to sell narcotics, and that's my bird saying what's up to me. That's how they welcome you out here at the beach. It's the first time I told this on camera. I was selling narcotics down at the Huntington Motel on 9th and Main, and there was a cat that was breaking in. Everybody knew that was my spot, like way before New Jack City. I took over a hotel. It's public notice. You can pull it up in LA Times, you can pull it up in the history. Someone calls me and said, dude, someone calls me while I'm upstairs and tells me that some cat just broke into my car. And I know who he said, because me and this dude had already had some words. Big old nigga. I run downstairs, I don't see him. The next day, he walks up on me like he don't think I'm looking for him. And he let me get a double. I said, hold on, cuz. Let me walk me over here. And And I'm 5'10", dude's probably, he's 6 and some change. And just to jump ahead, to not go too detailed into it, I slid him, and when I slid him, he fell back. I think it's your larynx, whatever. It busted open, and he laid there and just choked to death. And I threw a few stomps in there, here and there, but I shoot upstairs. I'm good for not to go too deep into detail about it. It's something I did some time for. I shoot upstairs. I'm cool for 2 weeks. I had a clothing store over on Crenshaw called Colorblind, and as I'm coming home from the fashion magic show or whatever to stock some new clothes from my clothing store, I'm thinking we got new security or whatever for the gated community I live in, because I see the cars all unmarked. So I'm like, oh, got new security. Yeah, it's cool. And I'm on the horn. I walk around. Like it was yesterday. I had some Taco Bell. You see fish tacos. And I walk around the side of the house. As I come around, Guillermo Elan, Burbank, homicide, lay down, whoop-de-whoop. I'm like, nah, I'm not laying down. It's something that I will not lay down. I'm not gonna put myself in that. Ain't no tough guy shit. I'm just not gonna put myself in a vulnerable situation. So I said, I'll drop to my knees. Man, the garage opened up. These niggas get to come out, molly-whopping my head, lay down. They walked me inside. My ex-wife was due that day. And I see her handcuffed behind her back. My ex-wife's a little Korean chick that childhood sweetheart. And there's this one female detective. I'm like, hey, could you take them cuffs off? She's like, shut the fuck, and I kicked her in her face. And then I woke up about 3 hours later. 3 minutes later, give or take. But then I was hogtied. But that was my case. That's how I got caught. I got sentenced to 15 years. It was 1 to 15 for manslaughter. It ran concurrent because they did find some stuff. And if you don't have receipts for it, they gonna take it. So don't consider yourself no big, D dealer if you ain't got receipts for stuff. Go get receipts. But the nature of the crime was something I can't take back. A man lost his life, and it would have been him or me. I didn't go out and do a drive-by. I didn't go out looking for him. The disgusting part was what I was facilitating. But the reality is that could have happened just me walking down the street. You know what I mean? So that's what sent me upstate. Shout out to my lawyer, Brad Sandler. If y'all need a good lawyer, call that dude. He's been my lawyer for, oh my God, over 20 years. I remember accepting the plea because I wasn't going in that box. You know what I mean? Because they was trying to put the RICO. I already had a gang injunction on me. So I remember standing there, and I'm gonna say this without trying to laugh. They said 1 to 15, and it's, I have this running joke with my man Herc. Like, when you explain shit to me, you gotta point. You gotta literally just point. You gotta make it layman terms. Because if you get to measuring, or I get confused really. So when he said 1 to 15, I'm like, oh, cuz I'm gonna do 1. No, that's not really what 1 to 15 means. It means you're definitely gonna do 1, but you could do the equivalency up to 15, but you ain't just doing 1. You gotta do, at that time, you're always gonna do 60%. If it's fair time, you're gonna do 85%, 95%. But I remember I turned when we went to go sign the plea deal, and I said, oh shit, that's cool, man. A year, good behavior. He looked at me and goes, Kaz, I got love for you, but I don't want you to get confused and turn around and punch me after you realize that you're not about to do a year. It's 1 to 15, and I'm still going, I don't get it. Nigga, if there's 1, I want to do 1. What do I need to do to 1? So he kept, I said, well, why do I say 1 then? Don't even say it. Just say 15. You know what I mean? And I did 410, 4 years, 10 months, and got a 6-year joint suspension, and violated God knows how many times. But the court system, I would like to say, am I allowed to curse? I don't know if I've cursed at all. Attorney Boucham, you raggedy waste of fucking semen. You spoke as if you knew me. You spoke as if you just had my whole pedigree down. And prosecutors and district attorneys, I think they're bred from somewhere out of somebody's body that dies horrible deaths because they're disgusting, putrid people, because they go in, and I don't really like any lawyers. I mean, Brad, that's my man, but this person stopped at nothing to make sure they convicted me. You know, they was gonna find something. This nigga stole some candy back in 1978. So yeah, the judicial system, but I will say Judge Uranga was a cat that, you know, he said, man, for an intelligent guy, you probably could have been a lawyer. So he says, anything you have to say? I said, well, after years in this is after I got out, and the same judge that sentenced me was my same judge that signed off on me giving my number back. He says, well, you know, what do you have to say about all these years? Violating, same judge. And I said, well, he said, you know, you could have been a lawyer. I said, well, shit, for all the lies I told y'all, really, I am a lawyer, because that's all lawyers do is lie. You know what I mean? And you know, through it's something I brought on myself. It ain't nothing I ever want to repeat. And again, we going on well over 20-something years, 23 years. So ain't nothing I'm gonna repeat no time soon. I walked in 165 pounds, skin and bones. But I was always kind of nice with these, so I wasn't, you know, and I was a good dude. I didn't have no chip on my shoulder. I didn't understand a program at first. It took a few rounds. Once I learned a program, like I did finish carpentry, I learned how to do finish carpentry. They don't have no programs anymore. I did rough finish carpentry, framing. But again, it took a good couple years. You have to understand, I paused for a second because the beauty is, this is my house where we sitting at. I mean, anybody be confused. And you saw what just floated by me. That person is riding like they ain't got a worry in the world. That ain't doing time. At best, all you can do is see a bird flying in and out, because he's free. But back to sorry for my rambling. It took a couple years, I figured out a program, and I got denied parole the first time, of course. Second time it was granted, because once I figured out, again, how to do my program, it instantly prepared me. And I knew I was looking at least 5 more years. And it prepared me to get out 2 years later, because I got granted parole based on a completion of anger management, substance abuse. I don't even do substance, but when you get busted on drug deals, instantly take one of those programs. If you ain't never smoked a weed, drank, take one of them programs, because it knocks off, 10% of your time. So what I did, I purposely made sure that I took care of the COs to make sure I had a good bunkie, because I got to do time with this dude. And I'm not going to violate if I got to violate this dude. And so I just, there ain't really no right way to answer this, man. For me, I just followed my program and knew that I had a date. But that date can be changed in a matter of one bump, one misunderstanding, a cigarette, which I don't smoke, anything. And I prepared myself to know that when I get out of here, I'm not gonna repeat this again, which is a lie, because I repeated it about 5 or 6 more times. But that was my longest stint, that was my longest crime, and my whole mission was just getting up out of there. First thing I did when I got out, I was released to a halfway house. True story, you can't make this up. It was on Woodman and Hart, and the owner of the halfway house, which my lawyer Brad plugged it, because I had to pay this woman $250 a week. A lot of people know, you can get a halfway house, they'll just accept you, but then you in one of them kind. I'm kind of bougie, so I want to be. So she had these cabins. Her name is Maria Lucian, and her son, Christoph or Christian, he ran the place. And there was these cabins. It was this big house, and there was these cabins. So I got a cabin for $250 a week. No, I had electricity, no water, nothing. You had to take a shower at the main house. What's crazy is she had this house across the gate that she owned too, that Kelsey Grammer and his ex-old lady, the broad who's on the Housewives show, they lived there. Well, he was paying her because that was his halfway house. Because he was a big dope fiend. So, you know, you there, you working out in the mornings or whatever, so I get to the halfway house and I'm like, man, this ain't bad. I got a cabin. I can come and go as I please. What I did for work, she owned a bunch of nightclubs. She plugged me with this cat by the name of T. Amos, so I just did bouncing work. Most cats, when we get out of prison, either go back to selling dope or you bounce something. The fact that I knew some folks, I was able to bounce. But I remember I'm on the patio, we had this deck outside the house, and who do I see at the fence eating Doritos? Bullshit you not. Eating these Doritos like they was his last meal or his first meal. It's Kelsey Grammer. Tweaked out of his mind. Completely gone. Now I done seen America interview this dude with Rooting For You Kid. That motherfucker was a stone cold crackhead. How do I know? Because he was my first client back out of prison. Because I'm sitting there doing my burpees, doing my program, and I see him, he's like, look like you're doing something there, young man, you know, the weirdo. And I threw a story out there with my man, Nilsson. And Nilsson was, I don't know what he was there for, and Nilsson said something, and I said something in the reciprocation of cocaine, and I said, oh man, I had to flush it. And his eyes lit up, and he crumpled his bag, he said, don't ever do that, give it to me. So again, Kelsey, you can stop with that alcohol bullshit. You was a dope fiend, super dope fiend. So, Kelsey, and another story real quick, I got violated, and I had to do like 90 days or something. Well, I was able to have a dog. And I'll give you all the picture of this, because it's on the same yard at the same thing. So I had this dog named Sheena, rest in peace. And so I go violate, and I had Sheena in this cage, a kennel. I come back, and I'm like, where the fuck is Sheena? They like, oh, girl has it, the Grammer chick. And I go knock on the door, and lo and behold, there's my dog cuddled up on the floor with the other puppies and little ankle biters and shit. Sheena looked up at me. And Sheena looked at me like, hey, nigga, I'm good right here. That cage wasn't working for me. Camille Grammer, that was her name. Camille, I don't want to put it out there. Which Grammer? And she was tweaked out. She's like, oh, it really wasn't fair that he was in that cage. I said, bitch, but who told you to cut the lock? And she's like, well, I'll buy him off you. I'll buy her off you. And I love Sheena so much. She did have a better life, you know, because she was allowed to sleep in my my hut, whatever the fuck we gonna call it, my cabin. But then, you know, I wasn't really supposed to have her, so if the parole officer showed up, she was always in the kennel. So I ended up giving her to Camille. But Kelsey walks up, bullshit she not, and he'd already been a good client, and he hands me $2,000, and goes, Camille told me to give this to you. This is for the dog. And I put an extra 500 in there for, you know. I gave her the dog, but I think she was so tweaked, so I took the 2,500. And every time I look at Sheena, I just think you're a priceless dog, because she bonded me and Kelsey even more. So yeah, man, that's I just bounced and steadily slipped back into the same bullshit. Thank you, Mr. Kelsey, for bringing me back into that world. But you know, it was me also. I always knew Ice-T. That was my big brother. People say we looked alike. I lived on 3rd Avenue and 52nd, and Ice lived off 48. And there used to be these little cats up at this elementary school I went to called Angelus Mason. They call themselves Mesa Bowl Hustlers. So Ice always would keep me up under his wing. Well, I've always had this raspy-ass voice. So as his music was already way over the top, I got home from prison one day, and I'm riding down Franklin. This is when he lived on Franklin with Darlene, and I see him, and I jump out. He's like, man, when you come hang out, man, come in. I'm not a hangout type dude. And Ice, you can't be two pretty motherfuckers. If you ever noticed, Ice keeps some dark niggas around him. Shout out to my niggas. But you can't have two pretty, light-skinned, pretty-eyed niggas around. So I knew Ice didn't really mean it, you know what I mean? But, I didn't take it serious. I kept it moving. And then I wasn't even thinking about music. My man Poppy from 60s was doing work for Ice-T, bodyguard work. So I went and hung out with him one more time. We went on tour. Well, Ice had this group called Hingy and Evil E, and they're Honduran, and they had this song called Marata Linda, and Evil didn't show up at a show. Well, I knew the words, and Ice was like, "Yo, go up on stage." This is in Arizona, 15,000 people, and I get on stage. I'm like, "Sé que me estás tirando," and crowd's going nuts, females are going nuts. I had this long hair, and I'm like, "Oh, nigga, I like this. This is nifty." And that's how after years and years and years of constantly slipping, going back to prison or violating, never getting released off parole and probation. In '98, I came home from prison, doing another prison stint, and even after doing that show, went back to prison. As much as I thought it was cool, I didn't know how to write no rhymes, no nothing. But I go back to prison, and I run into Ice, and he introduces me to another cat by the name. He introduced me to another cat by the name of Steve Lobel, who's the manager for Bone Thugs and Harmony. And dude just took a liking to me, man. He's like, "Your voice," and he was working a deal for Booyah Tribe. Well, Booyah Tribe is my childhood friends, government child by name, not no gangbanging shit. People know there's only one set of bloods I fuck with, and that's Booyah Tribe. But we family, and so we go to the studio, and instantly it finally hit me. They give me a deal, this retarded deal. If you remember MC Search from the group Third Base, dude had a deal with Sony. I was this nigga that everybody was reading about, fresh home from prison. Again, I still hadn't even written a rhyme. You can only lie about this if it wasn't right there on paper. They give me a deal for $1 million. Man, this story's taking forever. They give me a deal for $1 million. They stick me in a studio called Studio 56 off Santa Monica. I did the whole album in 1 week for 11 grand. I kept the money because I'm a greedy bastard. I worked on Booyah Tribe's album. After that, it just kept going. Me and Lazy Bone clicked. I ended up touring with Bone for, God, at least 11, 12 years. 2006, the opportunity to buy Mo Thugs, the licensing back from Ruthless Records. I bought it, still toured with Bone, start putting out records with Bone, start putting out other catalog records from other artists. And 2010, I just, as rambling as that story goes, that's really how my career was. It was just show after show after show, but I was always thinking like a drug dealer. How can I buy that bird and make it bigger? How can I only buy half that bird and turn it into a bird? How could I, step on it so many times? So I learned the catalog business by a cat by the name of Stan Shepard, who ran DJ Quick, Snoop, everybody. Death Row for a while. He was Michael Jackson's manager, the Jackson family manager. And he taught me the game of catalog, of reissues. Like when you get a new Beatles, it is no new Beatles, or buying from other artists that those songs aren't owned by their label. So if I buy some Bruno Mars before Bruno Mars was Bruno Mars, I own that now. So 2010, I did my last Bone show, December 23rd, 2010, walked off stage, and I've been a full-time record exec. I own Mo Thug Records along with my brother Lazy Bone. And, you couldn't pay me to write a rap that I still ain't never written to this day. I've never got on a piece of paper and writ a rhyme. So if people liked what I did, cool, thank you very much. It's better than me robbing you. If you didn't like what I did, cool, don't say it to my face so I don't rob you. But through and through, I love what I do. I'm no tough guy. I crack these little quips, but I'm no tough guy, man. I did some serious time for some serious dumbass crimes. And being able to put out records to the multitude. I'm at 17 million records distributed, sold. I'm doing something right. You know what I mean? And I love what I do. And, I own a restaurant called Beers and Wings down on the corner of Roscoe and Winnetka. You too can have the best wings in town. And that's about it, man. I ride my motorcycle and just live life. Since being home for a long time now, what I did for myself, I had to change a pattern. My way of thinking is still that mouse in the box. You know what I mean? Because once you start getting too content or too complacent, that's when people can take advantage of you. So I still haven't lost that part about me. I'm still a warrior. I'm still a beast at what I do. I just do it now with a pen and paper or a computer. That's my loud ass auntie in the back talking. I don't know her. But you have to change your format of thinking. You know, cats that have been to prison over and over and over, we become institutionalized, which is the easiest thing to say, but we also become very dumb. Because literally everything needs to be literally. Literally when you eat, literally when you sleep, literally when you wake, literally when you clean. Well, the problem with that is we don't understand when someone else is confused or misunderstood, because literally that's your problem. That's how we looked at it all. That's your problem. Then I had to realize, no, actually, it ain't their problem. Because if I'm choosing to amuse it, then it's my problem also. So what I did, I took myself completely out of my element. You could not find me, you could not find me on the corner of 60th and Crenshaw every day at that Taco Bell. I thought if I was not there, even after selling millions of records, if I wasn't there, just nigga on Crip'n, nigga on 6-0, nigga, yeah, nigga. Quick story, Nipsey Hussle. I put Nipsey on his first record. Nipsey is what Snoop could never be. Nipsey, I never, you know, me and Snoop, he's done some projects, but, you know, I'm gonna rep mine. Nipsey is an everyday hustler. Still has his clothing store there, still pushes that line. But I remember talking on the phone, and Nipsey was in the Hamptons negotiating with some dudes to do a new deal. And he said, so this will actually be a good little twist here. He asked me, what can I do to make sure this works? I said, get somebody to run your store, but you watch the books, you watch the numbers. But if you don't ever have to go back to your neighborhood, don't go. Because I was from the biggest Crip gang in the world, Rolling 60 Crips, neighborhood, through and through. 60 niggas ain't never bought 60 of my records. There ain't no retirement plan. A lot of people don't realize when I sit, I always hold my arm like this. I got shot in the head January 12th, 2000. And I got shot in the head, and this is all titanium. This is all blown apart. Scar, I got to see that scar every single day. Well, I hold my hand because I have first stage Parkinson's. And you'll see me do this a lot. I'm not flexing. When you get Parkinson's, your body twitches and things like that. But I put myself in that position to be an acceptance of that. So what I try to do now is make sure I never forget where I come from, but I sure appreciate where I'm at. So if I can tell anybody that's been a repeat offender or continually flunking out at this, move. Hold on. Move. Go find an apartment somewhere, get you a ratchet somewhere else that ain't in no hood near you, and just leave, man. Leave. You gotta, the same program you follow to get out, you gotta follow. I follow the same program every single day. I'm still very institutionalized. I live in $1 million beach home and I still close my bedroom door. That part is gonna be stuck on me. I could be in a hotel in Germany. I always have to have that one up. But it's my program. It doesn't make me complacent. So what you see behind me, forget what's in front of me, this house, forget this house. Because if you here's the best way to end this. This water was here before I was. So if I don't respect it, this shit can all be washed away. I didn't mean for that to sound so deep, but real talk, don't take for granted what whoever you believe in, Allah, God, Buddha, whatever. If it was given to you, don't take it for granted. You know what I mean? Because through and through, they got a vacancy on every prison. And they welcome you. They welcome you right on in. You don't have to do much. So through and through, get a job, get a hustle, do something, but get out your neighborhood the best you can. What it do? It's your boy Guillermo, Big Cassie Line, LA. Fresh out, life after the penitentiary. Stay home. It's a nicer place.